January 13th, 2012. From the stylish high-tech underground studios of Ribbit Media in Warwick, Rhode Island, this is NewsUndies. For January 13th, 2012, this is NewsUndies, all the news that shouldn't be news. I'm Paul Torville with a look back at 2011. But first, these headlines. Michelle Bachmann's faith in her presidential candidacy succumbs to evidence that Iowans don't think she's presidential material. 15-year-old 8th grader shot and killed by police after brandishing a pellet gun. 15-year-old? 8th grader? I turned 15 in 10th grade. Stephen Hawking inexplicably turns 70. Rick Santorum does nothing to dispel the rich people are jerks stereotype. Egypt's Mubarak, dying of cancer, may be put to death if found guilty. Casey Anthony releases video diary. Stephen Hawking explains black holes, quasars, and particle physics. Women? Still a mystery. Shooting in Ogden, Utah leaves policeman dead. No word yet on whether he was wearing his temple garments. John Huntsman waiting on USPS to deliver memo stating that his presidential bid is pointless. Apparently, he forgot his mail is still going to China. Beyoncé had her baby. I feel underwhelmed. Hey gang, it's time for celebrity birthdays once again. I got my cake hat on. Let's rock! For Sunday the 1st, Paul Revere, dead, and J. Edgar Hoover, dead. For Monday the 2nd, Jack Hanna and Dax Shepard. For Tuesday the 3rd, Dabney Coleman and Mel Gibson, freshly divorced Catholic. For Wednesday the 4th, Sir Isaac Newton, dead, and Leroy Grumman, dead. For Thursday the 5th, Walter Mondale and Pamela Sue Martin. For Friday the 6th, Joan of Arc, dead, and John DeLorean, dead. For Saturday the 7th, Kenny Loggins and Dougie Doug. For Sunday the 8th, Alfred Russel Wallace, dead, and Soupy Sales, dead. For Monday the 9th, Carol Chapek, dead, and Richard Nixon, dead. Don't forget Scott Martin, hey. For Tuesday the 10th, Roy E. Disney, dead, and Jim Croce, dead. For Thursday the 12th, Sergei Korolev, dead, and Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, dead. For Friday the 13th, Robert Stack, dead, and Rip Taylor. That's celebrity birthdays. I'm Paul Torville, and I'm done! Don't go away. Coming up after the break, the Year In Review, Infinite Detention, and the Pope.
For your upcoming wedding, bat mitzvah, or funeral, trust the professionals at Blas Florist to create the perfect mood-appropriate arrangement. Your special occasion will be so much more special with a Blas Florist arrangement. Blas will help your memories be that much more memorable. Call or click today to order your unique and not at all sexually suggestive arrangement from Blas Florist. Blas, the florist you shouldn't fear.
The GOP. 2011. What a year. Before we get too carried away forgetting everything that went wrong, here's a look back at everything that went wrong. Debt crises rocked Europe and the United States. The solution? Borrowing. Rupert Murdoch and friends testify before Parliament over alleged wiretapping and other privacy breaches against celebrities. In retrospect, Murdoch realized he may have been spying on the wrong people. Some guy snuck into the hearing and pied Murdoch in the face, more or less, upstaging any chastisement Parliament was prepared to impose. The world ended in May. No it didn't. October. No. Harold Camping and his family radio crowd managed to get more sustained coverage on CNN than the death of Osama bin Laden as May 21 approached. Arab Spring! Tunisia, Egypt, Libya trade in dictatorships for something that, in 10 years, might look like democracy from across the Atlantic if you squint real hard. Which is about the best you can hope for until Muslims ratchet down their religious enthusiasm to that of the typical member of the Church of England. Speaking of toning down enthusiasm for Islam, the United States marked the 10th anniversary of 9/11. Fiscal conservatives in the U.S. decry tax and spend liberals while demanding more spending on defense and security, reducing taxes, and less spending on foolish things like education, health care, roads, and some source of energy to replace oil and coal. Nothing new there. In answer to the so-called Tea Party movement, which basically boiled down to thousands of sheeple calling out, "Get your government hands off my Medicare," thousands of people pitched tents, first in New York City, and then in cities and towns around the country, claiming to represent the other 99%. With no coherent message beyond "the upper 1% sucks," and without corporate or religious sponsorship, enthusiasm for the Occupy movement has all but disappeared. Married? Prince William and Lady Kate Middleton of England. Divorced? Mel Gibson's divorce finally came through. He managed to raise a small family and break up with his girlfriend in the time between their separation and the completion of their divorce. Kim Kardashian? Married and divorced in 72 days. Could it have been, gasp, a money-making scam? Dead. Geraldine Ferraro. America's Space Shuttle Program. Jerry Rafferty. Muammar Gaddafi. Osama bin Laden. Jackie Cooper. Peter Falk. Andy Rooney. And ironically enough, Harry Morgan and Kim Jong-il. And the United States pulled out of Iraq. Why shouldn't that be news? Because we shouldn't have been in there in the first place. President Obama, in signing the National Defense Authorization Act, has also put into law what has been called an indefinite detention bill. Should the United States reserve the right to suspend habeas corpus until the conclusion of the war on terrorism? Here are Pig and Sheep with their thoughts.
Of course! The terrorists are bad and evil, and so they should be locked up. I'm terrified. Until they stop scaring me, they should be in prison. Never mind evidence or trials. Forget the assumption of innocence until guilt is proven beyond a shadow of doubt to a jury of their peers. I'm scared. Who is a terrorist? If one can be picked up off the street for no apparent reason, cannot confront one's accusers, cannot see the evidence against him or face an actual trial, then one has no freedom, no dignity, and might as well forego any illusions of this being a society which values the ideals laid out in the Constitution.
That's what Pig and Sheep think. What are your thoughts? Email them to ovcomments@newsundies.com. Between Rick Perry's strong ad, Rick Santorum's religious bigotry, Gingrich's, Gingrichiness, Mitt Romney's magic underwear sycophancy, and Ron Paul's Jim Jones-like personality cult, it's hard to say who's the most terrifying GOP candidate this season. Thankfully, the Freedom from Religion Foundation is doing its part to remind voters what a big part of the First Amendment is all about. Here's me with a special on-a-scene report. The FFRF erected the billboard behind me here in Warwick near the intersections of Route 2 and 295 as part of what they call a theocracy watch. The FFRF co-president, Annie Laurie Gaylord, quoted Rhode Island founder Roger Williams as having said, quote, "Forced worship stinks in the nostrils of God," end quote. On a related note, CeeLo Green is a tool. Standing in front of a billboard in the bitter cold for some reason, I'm Paul Torville for NewsUndies. Thanks, me. Coming up after the break, Moose Weintraub's Sports Half Minute and the final news roundup.
It can be hard to think rationally when a loved one passes away. This can be especially true in the event of untimely death or when religious or cultural traditions demand quick interment of remains. Blue and Flatley Funeral Homes are here to ensure your needs are served in the most efficient and profitable way possible. At Blue and Flatley Funeral Homes, your money is very important to us, and we want to make sure we do everything you can afford to put your mind at ease. Blue and Flatley, profiting from the misery of others since 1883.
Hairy-chested Yeti crabs. And now, here's Moose Weintraub with a Sports Half Minute.
Moose Weintraub Sports Half Minute. It's a whole half minute of sports. 30 seconds of sports. Moose Weintraub Sports Half Minute.
This is your Sports Half Minute. I'm Moose Weintraub. Ellen Nordgren, ex-wife of Tiger Woods, bought a $12 million house in North Palm Beach, Florida, just to knock it down and build something else.
Moose Weintraub Sports Half Minute.
Thanks, Moose. Always a great report from Moose. There's a guy named Bezow Doo Doo Zoppity Bop Bop Bop. That's not news. He was arrested. That's not really news. What was he arrested for? Carrying a concealed knife, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of marijuana, and a probation violation. Old Bezow was born Jeffrey Drew Wilschke. With a name like that, who could blame him for wanting to change his name after being arrested for concealed carrying a loaded handgun in a Wisconsin park? And finally, and I do mean finally, we all saw this coming, didn't we? Raymond Bellavance Jr. has been convicted of arson in the destruction of the Grandview Coffee Shop in Vassalboro, Maine. Grandview Coffee Shop? Vassalboro, Maine? Our longtime viewers will recall way back in June of 2009, we reported on the topless server controversy, and the fire, and the arrest in Vassalboro about a week later of Danforth Ross for operating a riding mower under the influence as he and a friend had headed out for more beer. That ought to give you some inkling as to the level of entertainment available in Vassalboro. Bellavance's defense was that everyone was lying. Everyone, including Thomas Mulkern, who admitted he was present when Bellavance poured and lit the gasoline. Since then, coffee shop owner Donald Crabtree has reopened the shop in an office trailer on the same site as the original shop. So, at least they have that. Again. Well, that's all for this edition of NewsUndies. NewsUndies is going bi for 2012. That's right, NewsUndies will be bi-weekly this year. The next new episode will be here Friday, January 27th. We hope you will too. Thanks for watching. If you see news that shouldn't be news, email your story tips to undies@newsundies.com, or you can submit them on our website, www.newsundies.com. See current and archived episodes of NewsUndies on our website, www.newsundies.com. Until next time, I'm Paul Torville. After that, I might be on my way to Maine for a cup of coffee. Coming out. Woo. Yes, come back into the body, Paul. Woo.